Good afternoon and welcome to the BBC News at 1, live from Westminster. If there's one word to sum up the mood here this afternoon, it's this: volatile. What was probably the last Prime Minister's questions before a general election, the party leaders clashed over a number of issues, including the NHS and, of course, Brexit. After months of deadlock, MPs voted overwhelmingly last night to hold a general election on December the 12th. Backing in the House of Lords appears a formality. Boris Johnson says the public must be given a choice over the future of Brexit and the country. Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn is promising to launch what he calls the most ambitious and radical campaign for change ever seen in the UK. Our political correspondent Ian Watson reports.
Is this election a gamble, Prime Minister?
Well, he got the early Christmas present he wanted, a general election. But sometimes the gifts we look forward to the most turn out to be disappointing, and winning a vote in Parliament for an election isn't the same as winning an election.
Questions to the Prime Minister.
The Speaker will soon be standing down. John Bercow was presiding for the last time over Prime Minister's questions, and this elicited a rare tribute from Boris Johnson.
Although we may disagree about some of the legislative innovations that you have favoured, there is no doubt in my mind that you have been a great servant of this Parliament and of this House of Commons.
But the party leaders have no intention of paying tribute to each other. They're fighting for their jobs, and they gave us a taste of the forthcoming election campaign.
The biggest ever investment in the NHS, 40 new hospitals that we are building as a result of the decisions that we are taking.
Note an emphasis on public services. The election won't just be about Brexit, and Jeremy Corbyn seemed content to fight on this territory.
As for these fabled 40 hospitals, that figure dropped to 20 and then finally dropped to 6. He claims, Mr. Speaker, the NHS is safe in his hands. Why then has NHS privatisation doubled under this government?
But it was also clear that personalities, as well as policies, will feature in this campaign.
Leadership means standing up for the people of this country, standing up for our police, standing up for our NHS, making sure that it gets the funding that it needs.
The choice at this election couldn't be clearer. People have a chance to vote for real change after years of Conservative and Lib Dem cuts.
But for the SNP who called for an early election, Brexit will be front and centre of their campaign.
We can talk about the impact of Brexit, and they howl and complain because they know the reality that it's going to damage people's life. Isn't the truth, Prime Minister is willing to throw Scotland under his big red bus to deliver his Brexit?
More than 50 MPs have announced they're standing down at this election. In the last 24 hours, the ex-Conservative Cabinet Minister Amber Rudd, the former Tory chairman Sir Patrick McLaughlin, and the Labour leadership challenger Owen Smith joined their ranks. It's pretty clear that we are effectively at the start of the general election campaign, and polls suggest that the Conservatives appear to be comfortably ahead. But the 2017 election showed that the campaign itself can influence the outcome. And what isn't yet clear is just how far people's views on Brexit will be more important than their traditional party loyalties in determining the result.
We've got a really volatile electorate at the moment. Numbers of voters have changed their minds over the last 4 or 5 years since we've had so many elections. So that could play out in a number of different ways on the constituency level.
The hope is that the election can cut through the Brexit deadlock. But that didn't work in 2017, and it's not guaranteed before Christmas either. Ian Watson, BBC News, Westminster.
So, with a majority of MPs now supporting an election, what happens next? Well, today the House of Lords will debate the election bill put forward by MPs. It could become law by the end of the week. On November the 6th, Parliament will be dissolved, and there will be a 5-week campaign up to polling day on December the 12th. As it stands, Brexit is due to happen by the 31st of January 2020. Let's get more now from our assistant political editor Norman Smith, who's in the House of Parliament for us now. We've heard the word volatile. Unpredictable is another one that sums up the mood here as well.
It does. I think we are on course for one of the most uncertain elections we've seen in many, many years, in large part, obviously, because of Brexit and the way that has divided the country in a manner we've never really seen before.
ending traditional party loyalties and the ability of the different parties to rely on their residual tribal gut support, but also because we have two contenders for Prime Minister, very different individuals, but both of whom are consummate campaigners who love being on the campaign trail, away from this place, almost like sort of two fretful spaniels about to be unleashed across a particularly vast, boggy moor. And we are in a different era from the traditional two-party system. Now we have the SNP and the Liberal Democrats, who claim with only a few swings in the polls could actually win hundreds of seats, and their leader Jo Swinson claiming that she could be a possible Prime Minister. But if unpredictable, think on this. 2 out of the last 3 elections ended up without any party gaining an outright majority. Further evidence of just what uncertain times we now live in.
Norman, thank you very much.